Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Alien Addict. We don't take days off because reptilians don't take days off. How are we all doing? I'm joined today by Dave. Ollie is once again at yet another Mardi Gras festival, and we're joined by Dannii Mercy from the Rabbit Hole podcast. Thanks for coming on with us today again.
Thank you so much for having me. I want to apologize about my voice. I'm finding it. It's no longer lost. It's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is it's not Ollie's, so it's an instant improvement on what we normally have.
I feel like you can't make fun of him because he's not here to defend
No,
himself.
no.
Makes it way more fun. He's at a gay pride parade. All right.
Is he?
He is the fluffer for the entire
I
parade.
thought you just said Mardi Gras.
Same thing.
Either way, he's fluffing a few hundred men. Like that's where we're at.
Let's not let a silly thing like facts and knowledge get in the way of bullying Ollie.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like it's best for you guys to start this because who am I to tell you that your country seems to be falling apart at the seams?
You're Lee. I think
Dannii
muted herself.
Muted her mic.
You muted her mic. Is there a button on your mic, like the backside of your mic, that is a mute button?
I think she's done it in software.
Uh-oh.
Down the bottom at the bottom of the screen, there is.
Can we unmute her?
I don't think I can. Maybe I can. Can I fix it? Oh, it says your mic's not connected.
Yeah.
You might have to jump in and jump out. And yeah. See, I think it's Ollie. I think Ollie.
Yeah.
I think Ollie heard me mocking him.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
I don't know what happened.
See, well, it's clearly people don't want us to speak. They're after us.
Somebody, because I posted on Instagram, hey, I'm not going to put out an episode this week because my voice is gone. And somebody's like, well, they're trying to silence you. That's why your voice is gone.
You say, yeah. How did you know?
So now they're messing with my microphone too.
That's right.
You know what? I'm so tired, like as a conspiracy person now of like really, really weird conspiracy theories. Like I saw today the people which try to say they'll take like one like celebrity, like what's the mask? Who's the mask? Jim
Carrey.
Jim Carrey. And then they'll put him side by side with like Joe Biden and say, yeah, Jim Carrey's playing the part of Joe Biden. You go, no, you're just making us all look like retards is what you're doing.
I couldn't agree more. And I think the best way to start the show is a little common sense outtake. I don't know if anyone else has heard this or is aware that's going on. It was making its round on X, right? It's live from CNN. They wouldn't lie to us. All right. We have trustworthy people that I feel like aren't getting enough.
Can't be her.
In my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet.
Just pause that for a split second. What the fuck is up with that guy?
Right, I was.
He doesn't want to die, bro. That's the one lady you don't have a gaff with because you're gonna suicide yourself the next day.
He is scared to death. Look at him; he's terrified.
I'm scared to death playing the clip.
Oh. He looks like a surprised thumb.
Thought to be just pass through.
He does look like a surprise thumb. Oh, and for people listening on the audio, it is the one-on-one with Hillary Clinton that was on CNN. Feel free to check that out on X. Google it. It's out there. It's definitely worth watching. And this is Hillary Rodham Clinton, Bill's ex-old lady, I suppose.
Wait, they're divorced now?
Were they ever really married? I think that love has to be a component of a marriage, right?
It doesn't. Only
you said that with authority.
It doesn't.
Nah, shit's overrated.
All you need is a piece of paper that says you're married. That's it.
Okay, then in that case, they are still married.
Okay.
Well, don't you love
maybe I don't know. I don't trust nothing anymore.
Sometimes you just need necessity and compliance.
Yeah. You and her would get along.
That they shouldn't be judged for the content that is
see
posted. But we now know that was an overly simple.
I have ridiculously good internet. I have no idea why it's freezing like this.
simple view that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook,
Whoa.
It doesn't like you. It does not want you to play this video.
Yeah, that's not a joke. Anyway, she's talking about repealing a specific act that allows social media, basically, immunity from anything that's posted on them. They're just a provider. What people say is on them. She wants that removed and regulation brought in from the government to be able to monitor what you say and have consequences for it, legal consequences, like it would be a law. Like they would be cusping on defining what free speech is, what all of that is.
That's against our First Amendment right.
What's
What,
that? What's First
just
Amendment? What?
bring that up again, please, buddy.
Oh, this might be better. It's probably on me for stopping it from playing. Give me a second. Let me re-up everything. Present, share screen.
It doesn't even necessarily need to play. There's just something dead weird in that.
Yeah, you like her beautiful face?
No, just skip through to where we actually just got Hillary. What's up with that picture?
I was wondering about that.
What picture?
The picture
In her
behind her.
background.
For the record, and anyone listening, whatever they're seeing and pointing out, I, L. Dave, I am not complicit in whatever they're exposing. Just fucking for the record, okay?
Yeah, for audio listeners, there is two people I would say are in sort of like full like headdress type attires, and what looks like a dead body lying on the floor. That's a weird picture to have behind you.
I think those two females wrapped in some kind of desert garb walking towards a corpse is a very normal thing. I think it's strange you don't have one in your house or office or whatever she's pretending to be. I mean,
I have a lot more
those are definitely the
questions.
eyes of a killer.
Well, yeah. You see how much she's aged in the couple years since, like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen her, like, a picture of her or anything because I just don't like Hillary Clinton very much.
Yeah.
She looks like a skeleton.
No, she's looking better. The adrenochrome got turned back on. We have 350,000 missing children in this country. What are you talking about?
She's
great.
obviously not partaking any longer.
Or maybe she is. I mean, have you seen Bill?
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna get old, but like, wow, it's like the minute you stop doing it, Epstein was their supplier. They're just waiting for the new person to get established.
Who's the actor? Is he from Texas?
Matthew McConaughey. I think he's just on a Zopic, whatever that is. The weight loss.
Ozempic.
Yeah, because it drains out the face first. My wife has a friend who's
Yeah,
doing
but he was in ridiculously good condition though. Like I could accept him if he was taking that, if he needed to lose weight, like it was meant for. But the guy's always looked like he's always been a handsome guy. It's in good condition, yeah. But like he now looks like inches from death. Same with Dave Bautista. What happened to him?
Oh, he's like, if there's a Hollywood cabal, that guy is down for it. He's always been that. Like, his wrestler character endeared him to a lot of people. But like, and the guy seems nice, but I just get bad vibes. I mean, I've never met him. Hell, maybe I'd love him. Maybe we get along great. Maybe he carried me around on his shoulders and tell me, sweet nothings. I don't know. But just at a guess, yeah, it seems weird, right? You see, it's off. It's off. Something's off there.
Yeah.
He's still a healthy big guy, but yeah, he doesn't look healthy.
I guess I haven't seen him recently. Do you have a picture? Can you present a picture?
I'll find one for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
He's dropped a ton of size. I mean, he's still a big guy. He's still like 240 pounds, 230 pounds, something like that. He's 6'4". So he's a big guy, but he's not the 300-pound muscle-bound behemoth he was. And maybe he just got tired of carrying that around. That's a lot.
Maybe he needed to lose weight for his health. Maybe we're looking into things too much. Do you ever think that maybe we're too skeptical?
No. No. No, because they told me to trust the science, and they told me that they were rescuing people at Waco, and they told me that a guy was making illegal guns on a mountain in Idaho.
Oh my God.
His wife and his baby.
Yeah, right.
And the pearl necklace is
he looks like now Howie
Mandel.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
I don't love it.
He looked like a fit, healthy dude before.
Yeah.
And now he looks like he's gonna date Marcone.
What's wrong with him?
Yeah, he's the future first lady of France right there.
I hate everything about it.
He's one of my favorites as well, Dave Bautista. He was one of my favorites.
I really like him in Guardians of the Galaxy. Until now, he can't do another Guardians of the Galaxy like this.
No, he can't do
No,
anything.
he doesn't want to do anything like that. Yeah. He was in that M. Night Shyamalan movie, the one about the end of the world, and that was based off that book. I'm blanking on what it is.
That was a really good description of what you're trying to
appreciate
explain.
Yeah. I excel at those. Anyway, it was the world ending, and basically these four people represented the four horsemen of the apocalypse. They come to a same-sex couple who's adopted a child, and they tell them one of them has to sacrifice their life or the world will end. And
I feel like I'd like to see this movie.
It's really good.
Okay. We can definitely have different opinions on that. Oh, listen, I can't rate whether movies are good or not for like peak cinema. For me, peak cinema was, Big Trouble, Little China, Real Men with John Ritter and Jim Belushi, and Revenge of the Nerds.
I feel like
Everything
you're making
else
up movies.
You haven't seen any of those?
No.
Oh my God, how old am I? Oh, God.
I mean, I've heard of Revenge of the Nerds. I have heard of that movie. The other two.
You've never heard of Big Trouble, Little China by John Carpenter with Kurt Russell in it?
Nope.
That's worth an evening.
Delete her off the show.
That's mean. And I don't need your sass about it. Get the fuck out of here.
No, seriously, do you like Revenge of the Nerds?
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
What the fuck are we?
So when I was in the Navy, they had to sit me down and make me watch all three Back to the Futures because I'd never seen them before.
Did you grow up in a cult?
No.
That was a weird no.
That was
a weird no. Most people go, no, I didn't grow up in a cult. What are you talking about?
I mean, maybe. Isn't every house a little culty? I don't know. I have a cult podcast now, so now I'm kind of learning maybe I am in a cult. I don't fucking know.
I was raised by wolves.
No, I just didn't watch a whole lot of TV growing up. I remember seeing like pieces, but my dad was like maybe he's got ADHD. He's like a clicker. So like something will play and you'll see a piece and you'll click to the next movie. You don't have a dad?
No.
Do you have two moms?
Look at what I do for my time. You think if I had solid parenting, I'd be here?
My dad led me here. He was like, here's the deal. 9/11 was an inside job. And I was like, yeah, it probably was. So from the time
solid parenting.
Yeah, he was like, no,
100%.
Watch
That's
this.
not even sarcasm.
And the minute
I tell my kids
that happened, I knew that 9/11 was an inside job. So like, that's why I'm here. I was like, yeah, my dad is a conspiracy theorist. That means that I am too.
I had one of these moments. I had one of these moments the other day with my son when he brought up the moon landing, and he said, "Where did we go to the moon, Dad?" A while ago, but we can talk about this another day. Like in a few years, we can have a really good chat about this.
I have moments with my kids like that, especially my son. He'll ask me about something, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, what was he saying? He's talking about DARE. So the DARE program, drug awareness, resistance education, all that kind of stuff. And the town I grew up in, DARE, was not a great program. Like they would call out the kids of like local drug dealers and berate them in front of the school.
Oh, shit.
Like not a joke at all. Not a joke at all. Like at an assembly and tell them like all the crimes each person's parent committed and how they're going to be worthless. And that was DARE. Right. Now, granted, small Tennessee town, like probably not the curriculum they were supposed to be going by. I don't know. I don't have a comparison, but I've never told them about that. But I've always told them you don't have to do anything you don't want to. And I always say this like as a joke, but it's not a joke. Never sign anything without reading it and understanding why I have to sign it. Like 100, like that should be everyone's mantra.
That's how I joined the Navy. They're like, here, sign this. I was like, oh, okay, signed it. Then I was in the Navy.
Yeah, gotcha.
I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. Did you?
Not 100%, but like close enough. I was like, I'll go.
Yeah, I knew what I was kind of getting into. Yeah, so I've always told him that, and now he's 10, and my oldest is, and so they're having DARE at school, and he brought home this form, and my wife is like, so he has to sign the form, we have to sign the form, and she's like, he told me he doesn't want to go, and I'm like, well then he doesn't have to go. She's like, but I mean everyone else is doing it, and so he goes into this. I asked him, I was like, so why don't you want to go, buddy? He's like, why do I have to sign it, Dad? I was like, well, I looked at it, I don't know, son. I don't know. I mean, I think they want it so to get you to sense of compliance and being on part of the team, and we're anti-drug. We're not a pro-drug. I don't want little kids doing drugs. Obviously, that's not ideal. I mean, if it was ideal, I don't know, like 6 months, right? But you got to be reasonable about these things. Anyway, he said he didn't want to do it. And it all comes down to he doesn't want to have to sign it. It's like, why do I have to sign something to go to a class? And then look, why do you have to sign it? Why does my teacher have to sign it? He's like, why are we in a contract together? He's like, I don't understand what they're asking. And I read it and I was like, fuck, I don't understand what they're asking. so this little shithead.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, we had to talk to the teachers about this. Like, they're like, well, why doesn't it, I was like, why are you asking me why my kid doesn't want to do that? Well, I mean, all the other children are doing it. Like, all the other children got vaccinated. This isn't my problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that seems like something their problem and their parents' problem. He doesn't want it, so he sits in the class alone while everyone else goes and does it with 2 other kids. And I told him at any time, man, if you want to go, like, we'll figure it out. He's like, no, I don't want to be like everyone else. I was like,
good for him.
You say that now, son. you and women haven't found each other yet. When that happens, things are going to change.
Oh, he'll figure it out then. Not a big deal.
God, I hope so. But anyway, I get it. Don't even know where we're going with that tangent. I have
so Dave Bautista.
No. Dave Bautista. What, in his pearl necklace? Oh, that's uncomfortable.
I feel from the P. Diddy stuff, like, stuff's coming down the pipe for some of these people, surely.
I think people are panicking right now. Like, Hollywood is going through a mass panic because of all the Diddy stuff, and they're like, what's going to come out about me? Because they know that they've done some fucked up things. And we do too. We just don't know exactly what it is, but we know who's involved.
Yeah.
We did a show on that, and this is one of the things we theorized. Like, it's obviously they victimized people, sure. But it has to be more than that. Because if you're just the victim, you get to take that stance as, I'm a victim, I was abused. You know what I mean? American culture, we're not going to come after you for that. People will rally behind you.
Yep.
So the question is, after they victimized you and put you down, what really comes next for you? There has to be something, like, that's not leverage. Leverage is after they have taken poor teenage Justin Bieber and done horrible things to him. Then you have this same group of men and women standing around you that have done horrible things to you and said, listen, you're going to do X to this little person we've brought in here from the street and drugged. We're going to film it. Yep. So we burn, you burn. And if you don't do it, you don't leave this room.
And you can't prove that that's what happened.
Correct. Nobody can.
So,
right? But allegedly, this is where the fun, and I'm glad you guys brought this up. I'm ready for today. Hollywood scandal. 3 A-lister celebrities allegedly featured in sex tapes with Diddy. They've claimed the same attorney that has been picking up other people that have brought litigation against him. And the attorney, a different attorney is on here in this particular article. You can look it up. It's from the Gateway Pundit. Has Hollywood scandal. And then it's the same title. 3 A-list celebrities allegedly featured in sex tapes with Diddy, claims attorney. There's another attorney that's part of that same that comes on there and says that apparently someone in the know in Hollywood and Power Elite has tried to broker the sale of material they have from Diddy to the people in the tape. And the attorney said, I'm not part of that.
Oh my goodness.
That means those tapes are out. He has been selling them. Jaguar Wright was right the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, no shit. Like, what is it going to do with them besides just keep them as leverage? Why not make as much money off them as possible?
Yeah, man. How much would some oil-rich sheik pay to see Justin Bieber get floofed by, German Shepherd? Probably a lot.
Guys, he was just a kid.
And genuinely, I have to laugh about it because I feel terrible.
Because it's so fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually feel bad for hating on him for so long. Because one, he's wildly talented.
Well, that's the
genuinely.
thing. He got really fucked up and he did this whole documentary or whatever. I didn't watch it, but I heard my friends were like, oh yeah, it's about how he has all this depression, all this stuff. And I was like, something had to have happened to him. Because he was around all these big stars and then all of a sudden he was a recluse. That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I think that's also why he's been trying to find salvation and peace, and he's been going to church, and he's been getting serious about these things. Is he's trying to, you know what I mean, find
Yeah.
that.
Do you think there was, before you play this, do you think there was a wake up call from like some of the celebrities, especially like the Bieber, because we know he spontaneously developed Bell's palsy, didn't he? Round about the same time that they were like shipping miracle medicine to everybody. Do you think that was a wake up call for some people like him, going, "Oh, hang on a second, like why didn't I get the politician dose? Why did I get like a live dose?" And where they realize that they're not important, because that's the only way to keep these people in line would be if they thought they were as important as the people that are putting them in that position.
I think he went really quiet before then. Like I don't know, just like I don't follow like Justin Bieber. I'm not super into pop culture, but like I think that he was already gone before then. So they were like, yeah, this is just another fuck you, right? Like I don't think that they were really like he wasn't in the know anymore. So like yes,
I
at
agree.
first when he was just a child, they're like, you're gonna be famous, and what kid doesn't want to be famous, right? And then he realized what that cost.
I think it's one of those things is like, there is rare, amazing talent out there. And I do believe that, but I rarely think it gets in front of you, because to be famous, to be one of those people that is up there, it isn't so much what talent do you have. It's what are you willing to do for it?
Exactly.
How far are you willing to go? What is it? The two comedians, I forget the one guy's name, and then Matt Rife. And the two guys were like, if you blow us both, we're going to get you Netflix specials. And the one guy's like, eat my butt. And he left, and Matt Rife got right down on it. And the guy's like, what? And now he's
And that's why you know who Matt Rife is, and you don't know who the other one
the
is.
other guy is. Yeah. He gargled the mayonnaise. Here's some Jaguar Wright.
Gross.
He's got everybody on tape. They all know it.
She's talking about Diddy for those who are listening to this, who aren't just watching the show. She's Jaguar Wright talking on Piers Morgan about Diddy and the tapes.
Can you pop the volume up on that, Dave, or is that as high as it'll go?
Oh yeah, it'll go higher. You want to go, big boy? You like that? Yeah, you do.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
Hold on, I love the way he said that. I love the way
parties.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties,
that should be a clip. That's a ringtone. You get a text for those who were at the freak-off parties.
Inside scoop on Piers Morgan. I'm blocked on X by Piers Morgan for asking him if he enjoyed his time on Epstein Island. Carry on.
Yeah, did he ever deliver the restraining order though?
No.
Yeah,
he's all talk.
Yeah, what a punk.
what were they like?
Seems a little interesting.
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes.
What a minute? What?
She knows what happened.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I know she knows what happened. She says she's still working with sex workers and she has her own tapes. What are you doing
because
with
her
those
record
tapes?
deal obviously isn't working for her, so she had to go back to the sex worker world. Now she's just a pimp.
That's exactly what it kind of sounded like, right? She's like, I'm doing the same thing Diddy did. That's what she just said.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it in a remorseful voice, so it's fine.
That's a good point. I didn't take that into consideration. Noted.
I've seen what they do. the ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too
Everyone
scared
knows.
to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically. And Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Boom. But she did just admit to having her whores get film of intimate actions with people that she keeps for herself, right? Like that. She said that. I didn't imagine that.
No, she said that.
Yeah, just check it. Just
Yeah.
check it.
Yep.
Yeah. So she's doing the exact same thing for her own financial gain.
I mean,
And she admitted it on TV.
that's bold. You can't do a whole lot about that.
What? What's
That's
going
pretty
on?
bold. Why would you do that? Like, why would you incriminate yourself?
Like, what? Like, did you? And I've listened to it a couple times, and I've really tried to I've tried to wrap my mind around what she was saying, because I've listened to her other stuff, and I think the inside information she gives out, and she's talked about, having leverage on people, and I've always wondered, I wonder what kind of leverage she has. And then I saw that, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, she's got her own tapes.
yeah. How are you better than them? Like, because you didn't put the woman in the suitcase, like.
No, you just witnessed it, and then you didn't tell anybody about it until it came out, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, but I know what happened.
The whole time.
You should have reported it to somebody. Maybe done
Anybody.
something about it.
Everybody. Tell everybody. I hope the girls in the suitcases are okay. They're probably not.
They're probably
or boys. Yeah.
That
was
Cat
that was
Williams
sexist
thing.
to me. I apologize. I'm assuming that it's just women. in
Well, she said girls.
yeah,
So
but I'm law of averages here.
That's true.
Tupac Shakur at the party, he wasn't interested in the ladies. I saw the early interview videos of him. Boy, that ruined my early childhood 90s hip hop. Didn't see that coming.
I mean, you kind of did.
Yeah. Well, not at one of those freak offs. You don't. That's how you.
No,
end up in
those
the
freak
suitcase.
offs is a free for all.
Yeah, that's how you end up in the suitcase.
Just don't go to the freak offs to begin with, then you won't end up in a suitcase.
Yeah, who knew how right Cat Williams was, right? Don't go to the Diddy party. Party.
Well, no,
Diddy,
but,
Diddy
like-
wants to party. You don't party with Diddy.
That interview she was talking about at the beginning of the year, where how did he put it? Because I was just looking for it then, but I couldn't find anything shorter than a 14-minute clip. He was like, in 2024, in 2024, all heathens shall be exposed. And he said, like, P. Diddy, I think he mentioned Kanye. I think it's Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, Beyonce.
Yeah, there was another couple of people, and it was just weird the way he says it. When you look back at that, he's just like, he said, no, like, in 2024, a light will be shined on all this.
Yeah, he did say that.
It's prophetic now.
So
it's
Clive
interesting.
Davis was the producer that initially reported all this. Okay, I'm just making sure I have all my facts straight.
Yeah, Clive Davis is a huge producer in the music industry. I mean, he's massive. And he is one of the early ones who took Diddy in and on. Like, you got to understand, Diddy went from being nobody, who was like an errand boy at a music office trying to find his way. And then at like, I think he was 21 or 22, he had his own label. He had money. He's throwing parties. He's discovering talent. And really, it was the parties and facilitation. You know, I mean, what is Diddy's strength in all seriousness? Isn't that he's a great businessman? None of that. He has people that run all these things. And honestly, nobody really knows what his business is. What you do know is that he's known for these parties, and obviously he's a facilitator.
We
And
know
to
what his
do
business
that-
is now.
Yeah, we know what it is now. But to do that requires a certain psychological profile. And you know what I mean? One that's compliant, one that can work, one that can at least, I would say, halfway pretend, because now, knowing what we know now, you look back at Diddy, and I always thought he was weird. But you see it through this new lens, and you're like, oh, man, we were just totally ignoring this, weren't we? Like, it's pretty obvious he's a freakoid.
But what did he do? How did he fuck up? That's the question that people aren't asking, right? Because like, what did he do to cause Clive Davis to?
Oh, you got muted again, did you? I don't think he did anything. I think he was sacrificed and thrown off.
See, my thing with the Diddy stuff is that he's like Epstein
I think he's
Island.
going in and out.
It's called. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The like Epstein Island, for instance, you have a private airline that's shipping people in and out. You have flight manifests on people that are going in. It's a very select club of people that are allowed to go to that place. Even after the place got rumbled, there was people in there cleaning the place out, supposedly filling the basements full of concrete for where things went on in. Even as far as like removing the gold top of that sort of like churchy looking blue motherfucker on the top of the hill. With the Diddy parties, he's running celebrity parties, so even people that aren't like in are still going there. So when you get enough people that are there that might just be on the outskirts, or people that are trying to get in that just don't manage to make it through into the inner circle, people are going to talk, and eventually, like loose lips sink ships.
Yep.
I also think they need a distraction. They need a distraction. He's a loose cannon. He has been for a while. He's only getting looser. Those interviews where he's grabbing and sniffing and like fond, like he's just, dude, you're out of control.
Oh yeah.
He's out of control. And like, all right, well, we need a distraction. Let's throw Diddy out. We'll have the FBI raid. We'll clean up all the tapes. We know where he keeps them. And we'll make a show of it. And then we'll have all of Hollywood. And then 48 hours later, a massive Hollywood wave of support comes out for the current administration.
Interesting. Right?
Weird timing, right? Weird timing. And speaking of nefarious things that are going on, as you know, we talk about the fall and all these things. I think the things we're talking about are the core of corruption and everything else that we're seeing now, whether it's inaction in the Appalachians, which we will definitely fucking get to.
Oh yeah.
The recovery response, FEMA getting in the way, multiple assassination attempts on a former president and current candidate for presidency that aren't being investigated or being ignored and or trying to be railroaded and shut down. They're all symptoms of a greater evil. And that's where the conspiracy, right? We're a conspiracy at heart. And Tucker, I don't know if you've seen this clip, Danielle. It's a good one. It's a little bit long for everyone, but again, audio podcast. We've played this on a previous one, but this clip doesn't get old. It should be talked about more.
MS-13 is one of the major gangs.
And they are satanic also.
That was my question. So very
I'm
little.
sorry, I'm sorry.
No. But I would.
Oh,
hope
turn
you'll
that up
explain
a
it,
bit
because
more,
very
Dave.
little has
Oh, why does it keep doing that?
been written in the West about this.
They're satanic, yes.
But actually, literally, can you explain?
Well, they didn't start as a satanic organization. They MS-13 started in Los Angeles in the U.S. because Salvadorans weren't allowed to sell drugs
Just pause that, Dave.
by the Mexican.
Fuck's going on with that flag?
What?
The triangle with the fucking eye in it.
Have you ever taken a really good look at any country's flag? That's just one more of them. El Salvador. I'm sure I said that, with terrible dialect there.
You're gonna get canceled.
Believe me, they got a lot of other stuff. I'm getting canceled over that. That's just amateur hour. You guys aren't even looking.
Not even trying hard enough.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, genuinely, there's some stuff I'm like, look, this might get me.
No, I wish I was canceled.
Yeah, it's like a badge of honor. I did get a personal cancellation email the first time I lost my Facebook account.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they told me I would never, ever get it back. I was like, how petty are you to send me an email?
Never, ever.
Never, ever.
I got given the opportunity to have my Facebook account if I took it up with the court of law in my given country within 48 hours.
God, I would have done it.
So they created a gang that was called the 18th Street Gang, because they basically wanted to sell drugs in a street that was 18th Street over there. But then division started to they started dividing themselves and started infighting. So they created the MS-13, and then MS-13 started outgrowing the other gangs, and they started exporting the organization to other parts of the U.S. And when Bill Clinton decided to deport those guys, he didn't tell our government at the time, I'm deporting this criminal. They just send them here. And they came, there were few, but unchecked. At the same time, some laws were passed to protect minors from imprisonment. And of course, the gangs use that to recruit 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. So at the beginning it was, some youth causing harm, assaulting, trying to control their territory, selling drugs, things that are bad, but probably not critical.
Kids stuff.
But they grew, and they started controlling territories. A few years later, they were actually a huge international criminal organization that they have bases in Italy, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, the U.S. Basically, a lot of major cities in the U.S. will have strongholds of.
Right outside Washington, D.C.
Yes, of course. And you have in Long Island and
Yes.
In L.A. It's a huge criminal international organization. So they grew and they started, killing more people just to get territory or to fight against rival gangs or to, collect debts or, money or whatever. But as the organization grew, they became satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it was well documented.
Yes.
And in our arrest, we've even found authors and things like that.
Yes, I've seen them.
And so they became a satanic organization. And even when you sometimes when you interview gang members that are in prison, they would say, "I'm out of the gang." Of course, they're in prison, but they would say, "I'm not a member of the gang anymore." And when they asked them why, I remember I remember the news outlet that made it this, but it's a very well-known news outlet that made this interview with a gang member in person. We allowed them to go into prisons and do the interviews. And the guy that they asked him, "How many people have you killed?" And he said, "I don't remember." He didn't remember how many, probably 10, 20. He didn't remember. And then they asked him, "And what is your position in the gang?" He explained how he went up in positions, but I left the gang. I said, "Why did you left the gang?" And he said, "Well, because I was used to kill. I was used to kill people."
Jesus Christ, is that bird got its own mic?
I was thinking, fair warning disclosure. This is going to get real, but we shouldn't have any issue. Fair use. We're replaying something that's clips available everywhere. It is available as well on YouTube. So, if I can keep your panties calm, YouTube. And for those listening, steady yourself, right? Steady yourself.
But I killed for territory. I killed to collect money. I killed for extortion. But I came to to this house, and they were about to kill a baby, And he, the killer that had killed tens of people, said, "Oh, wait, what are we doing? Why are we going to kill that baby?" And they told him, because the beast asked for a baby, so we have to give him a baby. So he said that he couldn't resist that, so he left the gang. He's in prison because he's a killer, but he left the gang because he couldn't tolerate what he was seeing.
So human sacrifice was a
Yes.
part.
Well, in the United States a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly, I saw the news that they were going to kill a young girl, or they killed a young girl. I don't exactly remember, because it was a satanic ritual. It happened in the U.S. a couple of weeks ago.
So that's almost never described
No.
in English language press as clearly as you just described it.
No, which is weird, right?
Well, you sort of wonder why.
He's got a point. This you think would be a higher talking point, that a major international cartel that is moving and using people participate in human sacrifice, especially that of the innocent.
No way, because they were set up by our government.
Yeah. It's
all these other satanic cults that are running our government that are doing. I mean, Bohemian Grove is a perfect example. They don't give a fuck that they're killing innocents, because that's what they're doing too. Everyone's doing it.
I mean, not me. That anyone can prove. That's what the bleach is for.
Yeah.
If there's a spiritual component that's driving it, why not just say so?
Yes.
But I guess my point is, you saw it as that.
Yes, of course. There's a spiritual war and there's a physical war. And the physical war could be, that's the unofficial.
Yes.
That's the unofficial version. The spiritual, if you win the spiritual war, it will reflect into the physical war. So I don't know how to call it, our impressive victory was because we won the spiritual war very, very fast.
Well, that leads me,
because you didn't have competition. I mean, they were satanic. I think that made it easier.
In your inaugural, and I was listening on headphones for the translations, I just want to check this. You said, we have achieved this great victory and made this a safe country, and that's the predicate for everything that follows. And the next thing we're going to do in this term is to work on the economy to make it better.
Grow the economy, yeah.
And you said, correct me if I'm wrong, you said I have a 3-point plan. And I'm thinking, I wonder what that is. I don't know, start a Federal Reserve Bank? And you said the first point of my plan is seek God's wisdom.
Yes.
That is what you said.
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Why would that be the first point of an economic
plan?
Why
wouldn't it be? What should be the first part of the plan?
Well, I think it should be.
Yeah.
But I can't.
And most people would think that, right?
I've never heard any leader of any country say that.
Because they probably forgot to represent the people that elect them. Yeah. It's like you ask most of the people that elect the politicians, they say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I believe that. But then you ask the politician, and he will say, no, that's not. So who is he trying to pander into? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right?
Doesn't make sense. Danielle, have you seen that interview before?
I have not seen that interview. No.
It's a trip. The rest of it's a trip too. That's just a clip.
I believe it. That's crazy.
What situation do you have to be where, like, a hardened murderer in a cartel gang is the guy in the room that goes, "Hang on, guys, this is too far now"?
Well, it's the same case as, what is it? The banker from the Netherlands, Ronaldo. Have you ever seen that? Lee, could you try and find a clip of that guy's interview just so we could do it?
I can't. I don't know what the surname is.
It's Ronald something. I can't remember the last name. It's Ronald, Netherlands banker, elite occult. That you should be able to pull it from that. So anyway, this guy's a banker. He was doing commodities exchange, moving things around, making money. He had come to the notice, and he came from a normal-ish middle-class European background, but he was making real money. He had a talent for it. Moving currencies around, moving product around, skirting the law just enough to be able to, you know what I mean? That he was good at it. And he got to notice and started getting deals. And eventually he was asked to go to this, like a Church of Satan party And he's like, yeah, I'll go, whatever. You know, he's like, I think these people, he's like, everyone there's just joking. He's like, basically it's an orgy. He's like, you go there. He's like, you know, I'm young. I have money. I'm not tied down. This is a great time to me. I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's go.
He's like, at least do it. Let's make let it all hang out. Let's go. And so he kept going. And through that, he would make more connections. Things were kind of working out in his favor. Now he's moving money around for, you know, like trillionaire level players on like financing wars and moving goods. And
so he's like, this is a good move for me to keep going to these parties.
Yeah. Well, he didn't. And when you hear him tell it, he doesn't really associate it with the parties.
Oh,
he's
okay.
like, it's normal networking. Like, yeah, this party got me into the country club, or these things got me whatever. But he's not seeing it yet until he starts going to like higher ranking parties. Now people are in robes, less orgy. He's like, it's not as fun, but you know, whatever. I'm not going to be rude. You know, I just never thought of it until he goes to one and he gets all emotional and breaks down. He's like, they believe it's real. I now believe it's real. I don't participate in any of that. I want nothing to do with it. I'm not willing to do the things they ask. He's like, I'm not willing to out these people either. He's like, they're dangerous. I just want to be left alone. Here he is. I think it's translated.
To put it carefully, most of these people followed a not very mainstream religion. So, you have Catholics, Protestants, all sorts of religions. These people, most of them, were Luciferians. And then you can say, religion is a fairy tale. God doesn't exist. None of that is real. Well, for these people, it is truth and reality. And they served something immaterial, what they called Lucifer. And I also was in contact with those circles, only I laughed at it because to me they were just clients. So, I went to places called churches of Satan.
So now we are talking about Satanism.
Yes. So, I visited these churches, just as a visitor, dropped by. And then they were doing their holy mass with naked woman and liquor and stuff. And it just amused me. I didn't believe in any of this stuff, and was far from convinced if any of this was real.
It was just a spectacle to you.
Yes. In my opinion, the darkness and evil is within the people themselves. I didn't make the connection yet. So I was a guest in those circles and it amused me greatly to see all those named women and the other things. It was the good life. But then at some point, I was invited, which is why I'm telling you all this, to participate in sacrifices abroad. That was the breaking point. Children.
You were asked to do that?
Yes. And I couldn't do that.
Would you like to?
His full interview is a couple hours.
Mm-hmm. There's three parts of it. That was the shortest, most concise.
Yeah, that's
clip I could find.
perfect. That was perfect. So you take that, and that for your deep dives on your future show, and by everyone, definitely check out. We should definitely do this in the middle since we're going. Please give us your show or where everyone can find you.
You can find me anywhere really. I think Spotify is probably the most popular place people listen. Anywhere you get your podcasts, The Rabbit Hole Conspiracy Theories, or I have Cult Chronicles as well, where I cover cults. I'm gonna do the Manson family next week because I'm doing MK Ultra right now, like an updated MK Ultra episode. So I'm doing the Manson family on the Cult Chronicles podcast because I'm trying to like tie them all together.
Have you read Chaos?
No, not yet.
Yeah, get that on the go before you do the Manson thing. That book's incredible.
I'll do it. I'll read it.
And that's why we asked her on, because she's awesome like that.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in the world.
We do that too, but the more and more I find out, the less and less I like what I find out.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
It's so we just talked about Ronaldo doing child sacrifice among elites and parties. We just heard about the high ranking of MS-13 that moves through gangs and human sacrifice. And if you're listening to this show, you have to be aware of the Clinton ties in the emails to the chicken sacrifices to Moloch, who was a god of Babylon, who people used to sacrifice children to. And the thing is, people are like, well, where are they getting all these children? We would notice if these children were missing. Like, and there's a fair argument there. You would notice.
No,
right?
you wouldn't.
And we're about to talk about why.
There's no other taboos in America except sex with children.
Hit some more volume there, Dave.
Do you really want me to? It's all the way up.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah, this is a rough one, and this is from the documentary. But we'll go to the end.
Wide operation rescued more than 200 victims of sex trafficking.
What was the ages of children coming into you?
15 to 17 years old.
Some child was rescued. She performed 60,000 sex acts. 60,000.
12 and 17 years old in New York City, this little girl was raped about 60,000 times.
I could not believe that the U.S. government has become the middleman in a child trafficking operation.
These children have no voice. No one is coming for them. As Americans, we have to do something.
Migrant children like this boy, who federal investigators say was put to work in a job that can be incredibly dangerous.
If you think it's 85,000.
85,000. 85,000. 85,000.
85,000.
85,000 that are missing.
You're a nut job.
Right.
We have interviewed people that know the proper number of lost children. The U.S. government has lost 450,000 children. And
450,000 children. We've
Just
lost 450,000. Yeah, just no paper trail. Vanished.
Doesn't it show though? Like there's all these things that are like stories you hear when it comes to immigration about like the replacement theory, that sort of thing, which I don't really subscribe to the replacement theory, because you can do that at a ground level, but eventually let's say that was the idea, was to replace the working class of lower and working classes into the middle class. Eventually those people would take over the middle class. And then when you take over the middle class, you take over like local politics. And then when you take over local politics, you take over big politics as well. So that's why I've never subscribed to that, because if, like, say in the UK, the whole replacement theory is quite big with people that are sort of anti-immigration. But it doesn't make sense, because the people that are doing it would essentially just be doing themselves to replacement, like further down the road. Right. But when you take something like this into consideration, that it's just it's a byproduct of the people that you actually want in, because if you allow a load of illegals into a country, then it gives you the opportunity to lose 450,000 children.
And who are they going to complain about that to? Nobody's going to listen to them because you're illegal. And they won't go to the cops because they're illegal. Mm-hmm. They just have to suffer with the fact that their children are gone. And the fact that, like, I listened to the Sean Ryan show, and it was this sheriff from Arizona, and he was saying that 150,000, these numbers could be skewed, but this is what he said on that podcast. 150,000 unaccompanied minors have come into the country, and we're missing 2/3 of them. That's unaccompanied minors. So I'm pretty sure that number is counted in that 450,000 missing children.
Yeah.
So when Sound of Freedom came out, the Biden regime, the current administration in the United States, the Department of Justice, scrubbed sex trafficking and sex trafficking data from their official websites within days, because they didn't want people to go and check to see that they could fact check it. Did you know that? They removed it. They removed it so people couldn't talk about it.
Yep, it doesn't surprise me at all.
They probably weren't aware it was going on. No, they don't. Nobody, like, That's the thing is like if you get into the occult side of things, whether it's Diddy and all these things, like where are they getting these people? You can't just be using people up. People will notice. And you're talking about this level, not if you're shipping them in.
Right.
Not if there's no paperwork and there's big business. Like that's the number one thing you see from human trafficking. They're like, man, these kids are worth a lot of money. Who the fuck is paying for them? I mean, okay, sex workers to a point. But if you've ever been to a shitty part of any major city, I've never seen any children walking the corners.
Me either.
You know what I mean? I've never seen any children. Not that I frequent those places. Let's rephrase this. I've passed through occasionally on a Tuesday at 9. Yes, I'm lonely. There's other places that's not the point. The point is I've never seen any children there. No, but seriously, unfortunately, I have been through those places. I have never seen kids on the side. And that's one of the things they're alleging. Well, they're secretively moving them around. If they're secretively moving that many children, then that means there is a network so efficient to evade all federal law enforcement, local law enforcement, unfettered and unafraid. They're paying ridiculous sums of money to buy children from other countries.
I think the federal law enforcement, they're in on it.
100%.
So
it is the logistics. The
local law enforcement is a little bit trickier because there's so many of them. But I think federally, they're in on it. And they know how to move in and out and do different things. And I don't think it's that big of a secret. I think that they know exactly how to move them and what to do. And it's like, we're not being secret. We're not going in the dead of night. We're just like loading some kids up in a van. We're just moving them to the next place. I think it's so sophisticated now, and nobody's paying attention. Nobody cares to pay attention. You know why? Because you're focused on your phone. What's going on with Justin Bieber, right? What are the Kardashians doing? Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Everyone's talking about that show. What's the next show we're all talking about? What's the next thing we're all doing? Because we're so distracted by all the stupid shit in the world that we don't have time to care about the 450,000 children that are missing.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, that's the wild thing is, I've just been pulling some stuff up because I knew this was quite weird. So if you look at the UK, for instance, which has like a much smaller population than the US, there's almost 170,000 children reported missing every year. Out of those, where are we? 81% of children missing are found within 24 hours. 91% are found within 2 days. So that leaves nearly 10% of that number. Just where are they? And then even further down it says that unfortunately, we believe that these police reports is a gross underestimation of the actual number of children that go missing every year.
That's what I was going to say. Those are the children that are reported missing.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And of those, you'll see a lot of foster kids that are multiple reported that no one searches for. So there's something to that. But the rest of them, I mean, how many are not? If they're unknown, how many get across that no one knows about?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we caught a semi-load of fentanyl. How many got through that you didn't? There's a reason it's everywhere. And speaking of absolute failure of our government and participate, here's this phenomenal piece of shit out doing his high-end shopping with, I could say a lot of things.
Is that Bezos?
No, it's Mayorkas.
Oh.
He's the head of Homeland Security and
Right.
Head of FEMA, essentially. And while people in Appalachia are drowning, starving, and unable to get anything done,
Whoever he's walking towards has got some nice shoes.
Didn't know you were a feet guy. That creeps me out.
He can't see your feet on here. You're fine.
He's seen him in real life, sadly. I mean, I caught him staring. I just,
You should have figured it out. Maybe you're just not very observant.
I'm not at all. That's what Scoutmaster Kevin used to say. I was his favorite. But so you got this tool bag who, while in the midst of a biblical level crisis going on, towns are gone. Roads are gone. Sections of I-40 are gone. Like none of that is an exaggeration.
Asheville was sorry, excuse my voice. Asheville was supposed to be like almost like an unfloodable, right? From what I understand, like it's not a flooded, like not a city
mountain
that
towns flooded. mountain towns flooded because they got somewhere between, 8 inches of rain to 30 inches of rain. Sometimes sustained. The ground couldn't hold. Mudslides happened, took out everything. Things that were normal creeks that in the history of existence have never done this before. Overflowed their bank by, 20, 30, 40 feet. Right. Running down the hill, taking everything out. So I'm in Tennessee. I'm in East Tennessee. I know these places. I've driven those roads many times. I've been there with my kids. I have a friend right now. He's a former Marine officer. He was a fighter pilot, and he has his own personal plane, and he's been loading up equipment and flying in and out. And he's definitely the right guy for it because he
hasn't been arrested yet or been grounded.
No. So he's a plank holder of MARSOC. He was a Marine Raider commander. No one's going to arrest him. None of those things are going to play out. They may have that shit in their mind, but then that's just 2 more bodies that are going to be floating down the river. Not a joke at all. So he's been flying in and out. Him and some of his buddies they've got together on the side. I know a few other people. I know other airports that are participating. Local churches in my area have been organizing, and they're getting in and around. Interestingly enough, the roadblocks that FEMA has been putting up to confiscate goods.
Wait. You mean the same FEMA that still has not let people back into their houses in Hawaii?
Yes.
That same
FEMA that was confiscating water in Hawaii. Do you know why they confiscate the goods? Now that it's happened around us and we've got firsthand information, I know why. Because those goods aren't provided on the preferred vendor list for FEMA.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
They have a preferred water vendor, preferred food vendor. The hotels in the areas are being booked up for FEMA employees, and under whatever national mandate, they get priority. Even though they're not there, they're holding them for when they show up. So like Tim Kennedy, whatever you think about Tim Kennedy, I mean, he's definitely a self-promoter, but he gets shit done. I'll give the guy that. He is out there with his group doing things. He can't get them into hotel rooms because they're FEMA and no FEMA are there. They're not there for, and the craziest thing, so they're moving them to centralized housing, right, at schools and whatnot. They're not letting them go into the showers per FEMA Federal Rule 11798. This is an exaggeration of whatever ridiculous rule it is. They won't let them take showers, hot showers, people that have been on the mountain for over 2 weeks now. They can't get a shower because they don't have the right flip-flops on.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the best part, the creme de la creme of this, is that FEMA has run out of money for hurricane relief because they gave it all to the illegals.
Yep.
That are coming into our country.
$9,000 a pop.
Correct. And that's a starter. There's more given to them on everything. Some people are getting $15,000 a month illegally for being illegal in the U.S. Like there's plenty of interviews. Search that on anything you want. Try and prove me wrong on that.
I wish I could be an illegal in the U.S.
I thought about going up there and mugging a bunch of them. I just need the damn card. All right, it's going to get filled automatically.
Right.
Yeah. You're undocumented? No one knows you're here right now? Interesting. Are you familiar with a Diddy party? Would you be willing to go? Here's a suitcase. No, it's empty. Take it with you. They'll know. Don't worry about it. No, I'll hold on to your card for you. It's unbelievable because they're going to give each member of those in Appalachia who have suffered $750 they have to apply for online. To my knowledge, everyone who's applied has been denied. The people who can actually apply are being denied. Some people
that have access to the internet. Let's talk about that. You have to apply online, and they don't even have access to the internet because everything is gone.
Correct. Elon and Trump are supplying the logistics and the equipment to do satellite, right? To do his satellite Starlink internet, which he's giving out there, which he was denied for political reasons of being part of like an emergency package where they would just had a bunch of these things on standby, which is a great idea, by the way. Love the guy, hate the guy. Having remote satellite on availability and standby like that is yes, that's a great idea, especially for emergency crisis that you can just easily deploy and they're ready to go. So different logistics teams have been out there making that happen. Walmart, whatever you think of Walmart, love them or hate them, the logistics beast that is Walmart, organized 60 trucks of supplies, and they have circumvented all of FEMA's roadblocks to
Good.
be able to get it up there, and they've got it to the people who are actually delivering it. Our federal government right now is actively hampering the aid of United States citizens. They are denying them aid. They are letting people starve. The town of Castle Rock, eminent domain has come in, and the feds are claiming to the people that their homes are no longer their homes. This all belongs to them because the largest lithium mine in the world is underneath it. The largest lithium mine, and I don't mean a little. I mean, it's the Saudi Arabia of lithium mines. And not only that, rare some kind of silicate crystal of quartz that you can find in the Appalachian Mountains. There's 50 other minerals that are like this. And because so much of it are park and lands, not only that, but homes that when it became a park, they got grandfathered, so you can't take their mining rights and their mineral rights and the way the land works. This gives the government absolute carte blanche to come in, take people's homes, take people's land, take people's property. And the mining companies stock, if you go and check those exchanges, the various ones who hold the potential rights and have already applied to begin mining, their stocks are shooting through the roof because the federal government's granting them. They're granting a lithium mine in the East Coast, the heart of the East Coast in Appalachia.
It feels like when people started snapping land up after the wildfires.
Well, in Maui, but only a certain people who are government approved to do that. It's gotten to a point now that is, and the craziest thing is you can go to FEMA's website and I even have it pulled up, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to vomit. They're just so disgusting. They're absolutely disgusting. Allegedly, this is a rumor that a couple FEMA employees in Asheville got the hell beat out of them by some of the locals who are trying to come in and enforce, and that people are like, this, because Appalachia is very much so Appalachian. And the fact that, and I don't know this for a fact, but the fact that we haven't heard any bodies being reported is amazing to me.
I have heard of bodies being reported.
Oh, no, not bodies in rivers. I mean bodies of federal workers.
Oh, okay.
People
like, wait a second. There's like hundreds of people dead.
Yeah, no, there's thousands. There's thousands. Last official count we had heard, there's something like 13,000. They believe that they still can't put fans on. 13,000. And people are like, no, it's only a couple hundred. We can. And the other thing that gets in the way is like there's always small town politics are always a problem. And we can highlight a couple of those, whether it be one particular town, Black Mountain, right? Which is interesting. He has a famous author there. I think it's William Fortune, wrote 1 Second After and then 1 Year After, 2 huge preparedness books about an EMP. He lives there. He's a professor there. It's a liberal college town. But the leadership there, and you go look up all the videos, make your own judgment. I personally think they're all scumbags. They were threatening to arrest helicopter pilots that were rescuing people, bringing in aid, saying that they weren't properly chaired and they weren't respecting the authority and command of the local deputy fire chief or some nonsense, and tell him to get out of his area, his AO. And then 7 hours later, the state asks him to come back in. And when interviewed, the city manager, because none of the other politicians were willing to get on the camera, right? If they haven't, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I hope somebody in that town has given them a severe wall-to-wall counseling and maybe crippled them. Like this is you're denying families help. This is unimaginable. I can't imagine if I found out some bureaucratic piece of absolute shit was denying help to my family over their fucking ego. I will help them make an accounting with God. Like I will arrange that fucking meeting. And I know people up there feel the same way. And it's going to be interesting to see how all this falls out afterwards. But that's not every town, right? Like that is an outlier. Most of them, you see sheriffs in these areas that are deputizing militias and arming them and saying, if anyone comes on your property, don't call EMT. They're busy. Just go ahead and let us know and we'll get someone out to collect the body. It is what it is. As it should be, because it's America. This right now, what I feel, and for the name of the show, and I'm curious on your view, Danielle, as a service veteran and a veteran, and Lee, from your outside opinion, watching the chaos that is brewing here, this is the beginning of something. The fact that the federal government has failed us and given $8 billion to the Ukraine and given another almost $1 billion now in full ending to Lebanon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
This is the beginning of the financial year for them too. Like there's no way you're out of money. This is the beginning of the year. I feel like this coupled with the failures to hold anybody accountable for the attempted assassinations of former President Trump, the contested nature of the election that is coming, because no matter who wins, this isn't going to be pretty, right? No matter how this plays out. As was the battle cry at one time, remember the Alamo. I mean, I could see people saying, remember North Carolina, remember Appalachia, remember what they did to us there.
I have some serious concerns about this upcoming election. I have some serious fears, maybe is the right word, because of what's happening with all the illegals and people just like coming over, with what's happening with the Trump assassination attempts that literally they've just, those little guys, whatever.
Don't worry about that little guy.
And
Don't
there's
worry
always a
about
news
that.
story. There's always a news story
Right.
the day after, trying to memory hole
Yeah.
it, get out of the news cycle.
Yeah.
fact
Trump
they're sending-
overreacted to bee sting. What?
Yeah. It's like stupid, right? The fact that they hate Trump so much that now we have Republican vice presidents coming in and be like, Kamala's the right choice. The fact of the matter is, this could be our last free election if it doesn't go right. First thing. Secondly, you see everything that's happening with North Carolina. If this election doesn't go right, that is going to cause a civil war.
Yes.
But outside of that, not only will it cause a civil war, we might also have World War III on our hands because of how many illegals are coming over. People like our adversaries are just sending military members through, and they can just they're just infiltrating the different cities, and they're just waiting for the right time.
Right.
And when it happens, it'll be like mass chaos because they will attack so many cities all at the same time. So now we're gonna have a civil war and a world war all at the same time. America's not gonna be able to hang with all this shit. There's no way.
I don't even think it'll go to world war. I think it would just be civil. You would just need bad actors cutting power, cutting fiber, getting in the way, like just monkeying things as we fight amongst ourselves, just, causing trouble. That's all you
We're
need.
sending
That's all
all of our
need
money
other
overseas.
countries. Correct. As they bilk us for it. It's now, Lee, before you respond, I want to share this fun little clip. It's going to make us all feel good.
Oh, great.
Not as a lie. It's not going to make us feel good.
They're selling children at Walmart.
Yeah, but if you buy one, you get the second half off. Hell of a deal, dude. They're always rolling back prices.
I will buy the children. Let me have them.
I got
I'll have
5. I'm good.
See, I don't
Or
want to
4.
have any more kids, but if kids show up on my doorstep, they will be my children now.
I don't want to have any more kids, but they're just so Moorish. If I see one for sale, I'm having it.
I'm a little peckish.
I can have a couple more.
This is Walmart. This is the 2nd of October. Asheville, which is arguably in the best shape.
Well, we didn't make it for the milk. For Wednesday, October 2nd.
This
Oreos,
terrifies me. Oh yeah, they're there, and I'm sure the gluten-free section is stocked.
Beyond Meat's definitely still there.
Yeah, and on special.
Yeah,
but no, this sort of shit like terrifies me. Like we've become so accustomed to just walking into a shop and buying what we need and leaving without it. This is the apocalypse. Do you know what I mean? Everything else that happens is window dressing, but this is where it gets real.
This is a fucking intentional apocalypse, because here's the thing. America can fix this in a heartbeat. Do you know how I know that? Right? One very simple thing. During World War II, 2 items were found. One that told the Japanese they were definitely going to win, and one that let the Germans know that there was no hope in fighting America. You know what those 2 items were? Japanese found an abandoned, I believe it was, ice cream carrier that the Navy had to deliver for morale, that it had ran out of gas or ran afoul, and the Navy, what was left of their decrepit Navy had happened upon it. And it's like, well, what is the purpose? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, we serve frozen goods, ice cream, and you serve fucking ice cream? Like we're kamikaze bombing because we don't have munitions, right? Like we have more planes than pilots. You're bringing ice cream to the battlefield. And in Germany, one of the things they caught in the supply lines is when Germany was going down, was they had found, and it was written about, I forget by which German officer, that he knew all hope was lost when they'd found a birthday cake found for some colonel that was going to a front line. It was a chocolate birthday cake. He's like, their logistics train is so big, they can deliver a chocolate birthday cake to the front lines of the most vicious war anyone's ever seen in history. He's like, we can't feed our men. They have a fucking chocolate birthday cake. He's like, you don't win. The one thing the military is in the U.S., all right, the one thing is it is the greatest logistical machine that has ever been built by man. Nothing like it has ever been devised. Nothing compares to it. What it can do and what it can move and where it can put. Why are there not super carriers off the coast of North and South Carolina flying in, commandeering bases, moving supplies, moving people out for hospitals, providing? You could have Fort Bragg is fucking right there. How many mobile command centers and hospitals could you have up tomorrow?
And they do it
tomorrow.
They do it in the Middle East.
Oh,
they
all
do
day
it
in
where
the Middle East.
we're at war. Everything's popped up.
Yes. Yeah,
Totally
one of the most advanced cities in the Middle East is the one the Americans fucking abandoned in Iraq. Like, we built it. You know, we built this amazing air base with all modern satellite communication systems, modern technical fiber internet, gone. Which, we'll go build another one somewhere else. I don't care. You guys can have this one. We're leaving. That's what we can do. And nothing. They've all been told to stand down. The National Guard has been mobilized to go to the Middle East in all these states that were affected instead of going to help. The governors need to recall that bullshit.
No, because they make more money. They will make more money sending their National Guards overseas than they will sending them to help their own people in their own states.
Yeah, it's. I'll give North Carolina state troopers amazing credit because they have been a key role along with deputies of many counties and getting FEMA the fuck out of the way. You know, the reason they're not getting arrested or they don't have anywhere to put them, right? They this isn't it. This is a rescue message. There's not enough bathrooms. There's not enough clean water. And meanwhile, you have the feds coming in trying to do land grabs on people, trying to steal. Local politicians' egos getting in the way. That's the minority of the situation. The majority of the situation is all of this is being handled. And again, Appalachia's built different, right? Is private helo privates, private plane pilots like my buddy, who have been working for the past week, doing countless runs day in, day out, paying for his own fuel, right? To make these things happen. And his little plane, whatever, I don't know anything about him, other than I was in it and I got a bunch of videos. And I flew it for like 3 seconds. Given who my instructor was, I'm basically Maverick, right? Like basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 7 seconds in the air. 3. The hilarity is I'm a large guy and he's a big guy, and we squeezed in there together. And he backed, like we had to get out and had to, like, he went to the end of his, because he has a private runway, turned around, and we had to push it further back into like the grass. It's like, what are we doing? He's like, I've never lifted off with this much weight. I was like, sorry, what? Is that a fat joke? He's like, dude, I'm not little either. And we're going, and we finally got off because it kind of goes down and then off a cliff. He's like, hey, look at that. We're airborne. And I'm like, that's not funny. He's like, it's not funny. He's like, I've never used that much runway.
Oh my God. But you know what?
Yeah.
If FEMA would get out of the way, America would take
100%.
care of itself.
Dude, they're already fixing the roads.
Everyone
rebuilding
already
roads
is like,
right now.
because they want to help your neighbor. Like, you want to help your neighbor.
Yeah.
Right? Like my friend is from Tennessee and she lives in Virginia now. So she is a local business owner there. They got a bunch of stuff together for the people in Tennessee that needed help, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where her family is. So they went down to help. But like, the people will take care of people.
Correct.
People out here are sending food and supplies, but it doesn't fucking matter because FEMA's going to stop it. If FEMA would get out of the way, we would fix it ourselves. We would find the people that are missing. We would find the dead and we would bury them. We would fix the roads. We would fix the houses. We would do the shit.
Correct. I was in Nashville when it hit the historic floods, and the Tennessee River went 52 and a half, basically 53 feet above the bank line, like out of the river. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. It flooded downtown Nashville. And if you've ever been to downtown Nashville, you're like, that doesn't make, I don't think that can happen. Why? The river's way down there, and there's a lot of space. And yet it did. FEMA didn't respond for 7 months under the Obama administration. It was all Tennesseans who pulled together, who got at people's homes, attorneys who donated their time to sue insurance companies to get them to pay people back. Eventually, FEMA showed up. It was a joke.
What is the point of FEMA anymore?
They used to be the best thing you could break out during an election cycle because all they do is cut checks. Like that is their role, is to cut checks, give money, rebuild homes, rebuild businesses. This is what we're here for. Like we're not going to pay the rent on your income. So all these people who own Airbnbs in the mountains, they're just out. They're gonna haggle with their insurance.
That
There's
it's an
definitely some
election cycle.
irony. There's definitely some irony here, though, isn't there? From conspiracy theorists that 10 years ago were saying FEMA are going to round everybody up and put them in concentration camps. To we could really do with FEMA right about now. Where are they?
Well, the thing is, like, there's a difference in that, and I appreciate it, but you don't have to round anyone up for a camp. You get them to beg to come to the camp.
Yeah. Of course.
And FEMA has, like, even for a conspiracy theorist that I've never been with, FEMA's going to do this. They do have emergency management, but they don't have like a law enforcement wing. They can't take that jurisdiction. And they've never really been good at doing shit. Again, their biggest job's cutting checks. Like, and what they're doing right now isn't that they're not helping. It's not a handout type thing. It's that they are not facilitating to allow help. They're using bureaucracy to get in the way. And this is what's happening. The trust in the federal government is that when we need you in roads and yada, yada, that's why we pay taxes. If you're not doing your fucking end, why do I need you? Why do I need you? You're not doing your end. This is an act. This is one of these acts of God. It is what it is, allegedly. That's something different. And the only reason I steer clear of that is because I'm just respecting that so many people are dead and missing.
Yeah.
But
let's hit that later.
Hit that later. I hit that later in a self-righteous rage.
They believe it though, too. They think that too, though.
Yeah, they have to. They have to. But I think
sorry.
My fear of putting that out there and talking too much about it is that they're going to use that in other areas of the country to dissuade what's going on. And like it's kind of like when you get into UFO and alien reports, you can get a bunch of good information. You're like, it's not craft at all. They're just talking about lights. This is interdimensional. And then you get the guy who comes out and he's like, yeah, and I had sex with alien cat women.
No, but
great.
The thing
you know,
is,
and you're like,
it's not crazy, right? The weather manipulation aspect is not crazy.
No,
we've only just had massive flooding. Was it in Abu Dhabi or was it in Dubai?
It was Dubai.
Was it Dubai where they had those torrential rainstorms because they seeded the clouds too much?
Yep.
And what happened was, the news cycle came out and said, well, you actually can't cause that much rain with cloud seeding, and it peppered the news with that for about maybe a week and a half until people went, oh yeah, it was probably a cloud seeding problem.
Yeah, I think of the normies, right? Like that's my only concern.
Yeah.
But right now, what's going on, like, the tragedy that this is, it's biblical. This is a biblical level of thing.
So here's my question then, as from someone that's all the way over here in the UK. Everything you guys have just said makes like complete sense, and it's a fucking outrage. So like, what outside of like people like us, like what's the temperature on it in the US? Because to me, this would it's happened, so it's destabilizing stuff before an election cycle, but it looks like a slam dunk own goal for the sitting regime.
It is. Those are swing states.
Yep.
Those are swing states. Not only that, train transportation down, like the logistics supply chain that moved through Appalachia because of the way the mountain is. Those mountains, like you need rail, you need the road. You can get rid of one or the other, but you can't get rid of both. And they just annexed both. Like they're boom, they nuked them both in the same spot. It's a hell of a thing. It's going to be interesting as we are 30 days out to see how this turns out, how those swing states are going to go. Because unfortunately, at least in North Carolina, the elected government there is not great.
That was my first thought before all the lithium stuff like started to come out. My first thought was election corruption.
Correct. Yeah, it's definitely going to be part of it. And here's an interesting. So Elon Musk has gotten on the tweet about this, right? And this was from October 4th, but I've been waiting for the show. I have a bunch of these things saved up. Just received this text 20 minutes ago from one of it because when he sent out, and it's a conversation he's having with one of his staffers, and it's like Mike with exclamation point. I think that's interesting that's how he puts people in his phone. You know what I mean? How he's one of us, kind of. He's hey Elon, update here on site of Asheville, North Carolina, and he gives him that initial update that we don't get to see. And Elon's response is, "What the fuck? FEMA is both incompetent and stopping people from helping. How can I help?" He's like, it's true. They're now about to shut down the airspace to regulate the private chopters we are riding in to deliver Starlink and supplies. When Elon sent out the Starlink, no FEMA chopters would fly. No National Guard choppers would fly to help. They have a dozen of them, by the way. Medivacs that are all just sitting down, still sitting down. You have Fort Bragg. Did I mention Fort Bragg? Sitting right there. Fucking home of the special forces. Like, what are we doing?
Did you see, though?
It's not Fort Bragg anymore, I know.
That the current administration came down. They wanted to take a helicopter tour to see what happened. So they shut down all the airspace. So everybody that has been flying in, like your friend flying in to help, they couldn't even fly in because they shut down the airspace. So they were like, well, we're just curious what's happening with this situation.
He flew a Harrier. So I guarantee he was still flying in.
That dude
just
has
at
balls.
treetop level.
All Harriers
treetop.
fall out of the sky.
That's the Widowmaker. Top of his class. That's the beauty. Apparently, when you go to the Marines to fly, if you were top of your class in flight school, you get the fucking Harrier because they need someone smart enough not to die. Because nobody should be flying those things.
Nobody should be flying those things.
Nobody should be flying those. Well done, UK, on that design. But yeah, so he goes into there to regulate. So they're shutting that down. We are pushing back with Trump team because Trump has sent his own team funded by him to help as well to help us. But it's not looking good. We need help to get word out about FEMA. We spoke with Ivanka and handed out Starlinks with her yesterday, but FEMA then showed up and started blocking us. Think about that shit. They're rendering aid. FEMA gets in the way and takes, like, this isn't, think of it as your family is somewhere. And this isn't about handouts. This isn't about charity. This isn't about welfare. This isn't about any of this shit. This is about people who've lost everything in a natural disaster, and they're our fellow countrymen. And they are being left to starve to death, to die of dehydration and dysentery. They are being abandoned on these mountains with no one to help them. And when someone does show up, they're trying to take all their shit. Where their family's been for who knows how long. That's real. That's real. It's a conspiracy that is here and is happening. Is our government conspiring against you, the fucking American people?
You know what the worst thing is? It's not the worst thing. It's not the worst thing. I say that. That's not what I mean. But you know what's really fucked up is they're going to spin this and be like, well, Trump tried to interfere with FEMA and he's trying to stop FEMA from helping. And that's how they're going to spin this narrative, right? That's how they're going to make this look. But on the flip side, Trump is out there spending his own money to help American citizens because he actually gives a fuck. While the current administration's like, FEMA's got it.
It is. I mean, it's evil. It's evil. Like, you have Biden who doesn't know where the hell he is, right? He's out of his mind. The fact that anyone's bringing him out or we're even pretending like he's in charge of anything is a joke. And it's a dangerous joke. The fact that Kamala, who has an IQ, I believe, at least at this point, of 67, who's, for all I can figure out in her entire history of accomplishments, is she blew two different dudes, and it's worked out pretty well. I mean, not knocking it. I mean, everybody's got a talent. She has to be fantastic. Like, love it. She has to be VP, right?
You don't have to be good at it. You just have to be willing to do it.
Nah, you got to be good at it. You got to be good at it. Like, there's got to be good at it. I have to believe that. Because here's the thing. If she's terrible at that too, this is a sim, and this sim, it's a joke. It's a joke of reality. It's unbelievable. So you got Charlie Kirk coming out, asking FEMA if this is true. Americans are dying, but FEMA workers are treating their jobs like a 9-to-5 government clock punching gig. It says, Charlie, my sources in Western North Carolina tell me that personnel from FEMA are being housed at one of the nicest hotels, and they only work until 5 p.m., and they will not work weekends. My folks are being told that they don't get in contact with them by 5 p.m. today. That was Friday. Said they will have to wait until Monday morning to render aid.
Yeah, because the floods will wait for you. The people that are dying will wait for you. The people that don't have food or water, they're going to wait until Monday morning at 9 a.m. for you to clock back in and bring their water to them. Go fuck yourselves.
Blood pressure. Who are you employing to do that? Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine, like if so you're putting together like an emergency programs that's supposed to give aid when needed in disasters. I'm sorry, but if you can find enough people that are willing to treat that 9-to-5 job, that has to be some sort of profiling.
There is, and if I said what I wanted to, considering we are on YouTube, that will be the end of the YouTube channel. Our audio podcast won't give a shit. But they're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Those are your first considerees for federal employment. I'm not bullshitting.
I have a question.
I probably
Lee,
don't have an answer, but
no,
I'll make
it's
one
not
up.
for you. It's for Lee.
Yeah.
Do we just look like a joke on the global scale? Like America just looks like a fucking joke.
It's really weird because we have this, I think almost less impartial media than what you do when it comes to TV. So like UK media still pretends like Joe Biden's it's all good. He's doing a great job. There's no real. Some people would say GB News, but I don't even consider that. There's no like Fox News, for instance, in the UK. There's no real two-side thing. Everything like because we have the BBC, which I think is just the worst of the organizations. We've basically got like a state-funded media, which is our best source of news. Like it's you're right. But it's not the way you think it would be. I think it's very divided. I think much the way I don't think your media and your news represents the opinion of the people. Our media doesn't as well, because if you believed our media, it's very much a case of like Donald Trump's like this idiot that is dangerous and shouldn't be in power and stuff like that. So if you think it's kind of just like having only CNN in the UK, I put it to that. But I think on like grassroots people, the same people that support like Nigel Farage and that are like conservative right wing people in the UK. I think Trump probably has quite a lot of a support, but it's weird. It's difficult for me because I'm a conspiracy theorist. So I'm always going to look at this sort of slightly tinted version of it. And even then, not only that, I'm then on a very small fucking tax haven as well, where with few people to speak to about it. I don't think America looks silly. I think it looks exactly how it tries to put itself across as looking. Is probably the best way to put it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a lot of listeners from the UK. I was just gonna look it up really fast, actually.
We don't have any.
No, we are.
I mean, 10% of my downloads are from the United Kingdom.
Oh, that's
Wow.
cool.
That is.
Oh, I was just looking at that.
On a fun note, and I want just because I feel like I fucking have to harp on this. While Americans are suffering right now, I mean, in tragedy, this isn't hyperbole. This isn't, inflammatory language. This is fact. People are suffering. They don't have money. They don't have water. They don't have ID. They don't have vehicles. Some of them don't know where their family members are. They don't know where parents or kids are. Like they can't even be united because communications are down or not keeping up. Kamala Harris, who's running for president, was in San Francisco getting donations and having fundraisers. Kamala Harris went on the podcast Call Her Daddy.
Seriously?
100%. Yeah. That was her priority.
Podcast. That's one of the biggest podcasts.
Yeah. She was on that while everyone was, dying, being left to dead and nothing was happening. But she had time to go on the Call Her Daddy podcast.
You know why though? Because Trump has been going on podcasts this year.
Yes.
Trump has gone on so many podcasts, and so is Vance. Like all these people are going on podcasts. So now all of a sudden she's like, well, I better go on a podcast too.
During the greatest, like one of the greatest natural disasters since the fucking Dust Bowl. And she orchestrated a few quick photo ops. That's what she did last week. Well, people to have nothing, children have nothing, people have nowhere to sleep, and FEMA only works till 5 o'clock. I've got 2-hour lunch. Fucking it's hard work. And Tim Walsh drinks Hortzcom. And as we have all that going on, Hurricane Milton is coming out of the fucking Gulf towards Florida. I have never, ever remember in my history of hurricanes coming out of the fucking Gulf. Like, not like, oh, it swang into the swamps, like it came out of, the South Atlantic, came up, it went into the Gulf a little bit, and she's coming up and hitting Texas now. Not, we're going to start over here by Mexico and the Yucatan. And
I don't know
we're going
much
to come.
about hurricanes. Do hurricanes not start in the Gulf? Why?
It's just the flow of the weather patterns and the currents, the warm water currents that go through the Atlantic and how they circle going up and down, bringing in hot
Because
cold
there's
water
not a
and
lot of like
circulation.
Pacific Ocean hurricanes either, right?
No, they do. They have the typhoons.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have those over there, but they don't really hit California like that. It doesn't generate because
No, it hits Japan
it's cold.
yeah.
Yeah, it goes the other way. It goes
Right.
towards.
Is
the
it
water.
not hurricane season in Florida now anyway?
Yeah, but they don't come that way.
Right.
They don't come out of the Gulf. They come out of the Atlantic. They come out of the South.
They do if
Caribbean.
you're manipulating the weather.
I mean, probably, and that's gonna be. I think there's
They
gonna
do
be
if you
lots of
fucked with the
episodes.
sun.
They do if you use HARP to pump the ionosphere filled with tons of fucking energy. And you can look at any of the civilians who are not even civilians, but professionals who monitor weather and watch what's going on. And they're like, what the hell's going on with this? There was an instance from Nashville radar, these huge swirls of energy coming out from the Doppler systems, which are nationally controlled. And people are like, what the hell's going on with that? I don't know. I guess it's an anomaly.
There can't be this many anomalies in 1 month, 1 week. Get the fuck out of here with all that shit.
Well-
That's not how this works.
Look at that weird
wait till
stuff that
Florida
was
goes
going
blue
on.
after this one. I think it's going to be a Cat 4 to Cat 5 that's going to sit on Florida. And I think when that happens to Florida, everyone's going to forget about Appalachia.
You want to know why? Because they don't think they can win.
No, they can't win. They're just going to take it. And we're going to figure out what happens after that. It's not good. So if you're an American, you need to buy a gun. You need to get some ammunition. You need to learn how to use it. You need to have some food. You need to get a bulletproof vest, because if you get a gun and you think you might have to shoot at someone, they're probably going to fucking shoot back. Just a thought. And honestly, the best force multiplier you can have, if you pay attention to what's going on right now with this hurricane, I know they're expensive. I know they're beyond a lot of people. Save up some fucking cans. Get night vision. You can get a cheap pair of like PVS 7Bs for $2 or $3 grand. I know it sounds like a lot. I understand that. It's fucking worth it. If when all the lights are out and it looks like daytime to you, it's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. I have friends in North Carolina right now that are dealing with looters, and save for night vision. They're in charge. That's just how that goes. Get some batteries, get some food, get medicine. If you have kids, get things that are appropriate for kids. Medicines for kids, games for kids. This is the time. If you're not looking and reading the fucking tea leaves of what's going on right now, then wake up. This is your wake up call. Start fucking listen to me read the tea leaves for you. Something horrible is coming. And for some people, it's already happened.
Lee, what were you going to say?
No, I wasn't. I was just listening to Dave.
Okay. I thought you had something to say before you said that.
Yeah, I'm in passion. Sorry.
No,
I'm on a fucking rage about it, man.
So I do this. I will take, because when I'm driving, I can think, right? And so when I'm driving, I will often take my phone and just like do the voice memo and record myself like going off on a fucking tangent about whatever recently I was like researching, and it was JFK. And so I went crazy off JFK one time, and it like led into Bush and 9/11, and it got a little wild. And then I posted on my Patreon, so that way like the people on Patreon can hear me just like get completely unhinged about dumb shit. So I love it. I appreciate it.
What is this? So one of our contributors said, this is like yelling fire in a theater. You guys should be ashamed. You're a fucking moron.
100%.
You're a fucking moron. You're a fucking moron. You're a fucking moron. One, yelling fire in a theater is not illegal. All right. I don't know if you mean that as sarcastically or not, but having friends and family that are stuck there and they have nothing and FEMA's getting in the way, actually getting in the, and in fact, just use fucking Google, man. Look around. Get off fucking CNN. All right. Or go find somewhere else to fucking be, because people are dying while you're taking the time to make fucking quips, man. Eat shit. That's the reality of the world we live in. These people in the mountains have lost their homes. Cities, towns are gone.
And they're not
Fucking
getting them
gone.
back. They're not getting them back.
No, they're not bringing them back.
They
They're
have
not
to go
getting them
somewhere
back.
else, go live somewhere else. They don't get to be back in their cities anymore.
And there's no funding. There is no help beyond the churches and the people who have organized everything. Like, so our town and churches are organizing with other ones, and they're hop skipping it and getting there. They're playing like this weird game of Frogger, getting them up passes, using ATVs, going around roadblocks. When there are roadblocks, they get the state troopers or local law enforcement to disband the FEMA, but they just go somewhere else and do it fucking again. It's unbelievable.
So do you know what happens? Like these, okay, so eminent domain has been established, right? They're like, yes, your house is gone. Now we have this house, or we have this land now. So what do they get paid for that?
Quickly,
They get paid on the value from
imminent
5 years
domain
ago.
before you carry on. Explain what's imminent domain.
Eminent domain is the government's right. They say that they need this for a higher purpose or for themselves or for military, whatever. It's the government taking land. And they're supposed to pay you the fair valued market, which is actually the lowest price it was in the past 5 years.
Okay, that was my question. Is like, will these people actually, because I don't know how all this works,
Yeah.
will these people actually get paid for the house that they've lost their house anyway, but get money so that way they can go establish somewhere else?
Once they get lawyers to go after the government, and the lawyers will get their piece of the money, and they'll drag it out for a while because
So
no
10,
checks ever
15
come.
years from here?
Probably. Yeah, it'll be fucking ridiculous.
So
and not only that,
your life's destroyed at that point.
Yeah,
Exactly,
and it'll be 5 years ago when, interestingly enough, all the people that have been moving to like Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina from New York, California, that the properties on these Airbnbs, the properties on these small towns who have kind of become popular attractions again, right? Like they went out of favor and kind of went away. In the past few years, they've really had a resurgence, right?
Yep.
So you don't get the value of that. They don't. And the crazy thing is, if you were to take out a home equity line, like now your property's worth more, and say you own it outright or whatever, it's worth more than you owe. You're like, hey, let's take out $200,000. Let's fix it up. Let's start hosting people. Cool. Well, if your insurance didn't cover it, you're on the hook for that, and you're going to have to declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Like that. That's where all this is at. Like because it takes the way the banking laws and the way a lot of these things work. You have to have FEMA come and kick in and declare it a national emergency for banks to be able to grant, forgiveness and immunity and payback programs and all this other kind of stuff. It's just one of those things. Like, yeah. Wait, we got another one. Nocturnal Hell. I have my brother in North Carolina. Can't get home. I'm so fucking sorry, man.
Awful.
They said the hurricane sheared 20 feet off of the mountains. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, the eminent domain, and not only that, eminent domain can get it down even more. Like they can quickly get it down to where it's like fucking pennies on the dollar type-esque thing. Yeah.
So the is the media reporting this properly?
No.
No,
because it's not.
No.
It's because it's not. Over here. We know there's some sort of flooding going on in the US, but it's not like top of the agenda news.
Well, they're trying to hide it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's. You know what? Let's see if I have some of these.
But this must be a huge wake up call for a lot of people, though.
Everyone, you think it never happened. It won't happen to you, right? Like the fires in Maui that happened. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's awful. Oh my gosh, that wouldn't happen to me though, right? The flooding in Asheville. Oh my gosh, and like the whole area, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would never happen here, but that's awful for them. So people are like, almost like delusional that they think that this will never happen to me.
Mm.
This is a small sample of how fucked up things are, and part of it, like here.
Because it's not like this in other, right? It's just mud. There's a reason that this is this way. You see that shiny stuff in there? It's mica. But these mines up here, there's 6 mines here, and they actually produce quartz silica. Every smart device in the world, every smart TV, every smart anything has to have quartz silica or it won't work. So right now, the tech industry is in they're spazzing out because all the quartz silica is here and no one can get to it because all their intakes from the water are trashed.
Well, also, it looks like the railroad tracks come right up to their building, and the railroad tracks down there given right.
Why is it so sandy?
Take a look at those railroad tracks.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. I accidentally
Looks
hit
like
the
someone's
scroll.
put a fucking train lines around a NASCAR track.
Yeah. So for those listening, that they're the train
So they
train
can't-
lines are
I mean,
literally
the Port
sliding
Silica,
off
the sediment
a
ponds, the
ridge.
washing, all of it is on hold right now because there's so much damage, and they're all in Mitchell County. But because of the mines, we don't have like in the Piedmont, you have red clay.
Well, this has been sorry, Dave.
worries.
This has been a worry for the US for a long time, hasn't it? With the state of the railroad system and how much it's used. You know, how necessary it is.
It's yeah, to a certain extent, like logistics supplies breaking down. But the thing is, it's not just the culpability and fault of the government, right? Like if we're going to say it's a natural disaster, and it is a natural disaster, hurricane come in, dump too much water. I was privy to some of the calls like that were being made to the Tennessee Valley Authority about the dams. Here's interesting, right? The media won't cover what's going on. They won't talk about how bad things are. But during the event, when people were trying to get accurate information, the one thing the fucking media did do was spread a bunch of bullshit lies about dams breaking and everybody's going to die and you need to
I
panic
saw
and
that.
run. Yeah, none of it was fucking true. None of it was true.
Because I read like a whole town had been like evacuated somewhere.
Towns were on the threats, the wrong towns. They had people worrying about bullshit that did not matter. They're like, these dams, these 3 dams, these are all of the dams held. None of the dams broke. That's all a fucking lie. And that's all that was on the news channels. And the thing is, as like Duke Energy was getting, as the Army Corps of Engineer was doing it, as Tennessee Valley Authority was reporting to the news, like, hey, everything's fine. The news wasn't airing it. They didn't give a shit. So then all these different entities had to take to social media and be like, hey, everybody calm down. Like the dam is not failing. The dam is holding. Everything is fine. Like we're having overspillage of 1.4 million gallons a second, but the dam is holding. And while people are focused on that, no one was paying attention to what's going on in the other thing. And I think that this is kind of a poignant message from a North Carolina sheriff.
And it says when government becomes destructive to these ends, meaning when they go above and beyond trying to secure our liberties and trying to take them, it's the right of the people to alter or abolish that government, either by voting or ultimately, God forbid, to use our Second Amendment rights to protect ourselves from tyranny. And I'm just asking all of y'all to unanimously join our sister counties of Wilkes, Surrey, Stokes, Lincoln, and Cherokee and get on board with this thing and publicly demonstrate to us that you're willing to uphold and honor the same oath I took when I put my hand on God's word and held my other hand up to him and swore that I'd give my life to defend that Constitution. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but regardless of what y'all do or don't do, I'm not going to enforce an unconstitutional law. I'm going to.
Got to have good sheriffs. It matters. As for, like, I see some of the comments talking about, and this is the only live show we do, so if you listen to us on audio, that's why we keep referencing that. We do have a live show. Don't know how long we'll have a live show. But we do have a live show at the moment. Comments talk about weather manipulation. There's a possibility, like, I can't prove that to you, and people are dead. And it's still happening, man. People are dying because they don't have insulin. They don't have blood pressure medication. They don't have whatever cancer medication. People are on chemo. They're not getting it now. How many people had surgery scheduled? They're like, I got to go next week. You're not going anywhere. That's what's going on. That's what's actually happening. And I love to talk about crazy nonsense, conspiracy out there shit more than anyone, right? It's a good distraction, and sometimes it gives you a fun nugget of truth to view your world. But this is an unbelievable tragedy, and it is not being recovered well. Now, the only beauty and mark that we have in that is that because of the inconsistency of coverage from the media, it only draws more attention. That's why I think this next hurricane, and maybe I'm wrong about this, right? Maybe weather modification isn't a thing, maybe whatever. But if the next Hurricane Milton sits on Florida and goes from 4 to 5 and just sits there and pounds and pounds and doesn't just breeze across, because right now that thing's moving, it's running. So I guess we'll see what the weather phenomenon is going to be then. But I also think as soon as that hurricane hits, everyone's going to forget about Appalachia. And you got to understand, Tennessee and North Carolina now aren't connected. We don't have roads to get to each other. There are over 50 bridges in Tennessee that aren't open because they have to be inspected. 5 of them on state roads that are totally gone. Pillars, footings, gone. Whole sections of I-40, Interstate 40, main connection of East Coast, right? Gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Towns along the way, gone.
The thing is, people don't know the devastation because it's not being broadcast. Nobody knows what's happening because they refuse to show what's actually happening. So unless you go to social media and people like are showing you things, or people are there and they're like, no, it's actually as bad as you think it is. Like, people just don't know. Here in Colorado, I don't know. My weather's great. I mean, it's a little windy, but you know what? I mean, it's 80 degrees outside, which is actually very hot for Colorado at this time of year. But here it is.
Yeah, it's and you bring up a good point. So here's something. I don't know if I don't know what you guys have seen online or not, and I don't know how well this will translate to the audience that's listening. But we can definitely provide commentary as we watch it, right? Here we are. Helicopter overview.
But it's the look in her eyes that I can't.
I can't do that. So we're flying over what was a town, and now it is the river blown out that ate away at the road. As you can see, whole sections of that road are gone. It's just kind of incredible. Look at that. This is on a mountain.
Do you know the wild thing is about that?
This
video?
is a fucking mountain.
So the it's for people listening, it's essentially a town which has turned into a fucking river. If this was anywhere else in the world right now, it wouldn't be off the news, and it would constantly be being promoted as like climate change. Like this, look at what man-made climate change is doing. So where's that? Right? Where's all the man-made climate change people? Aren't they using this?
Yeah, this is. Look at that.
And look how fast the water is moving. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why people are dead.
It's not just that. It's
I mean, well, there's right.
So where I am, right? Because like we didn't get this, but we got a ridiculous amount of water. It caused real problems. The lakes that were around where we're at, they're telling all boaters stay off the water. There's deadhead logs in there. They're up in. There's parts of buildings in there. Stay off the lakes. Some of these lakes that are further up there, it's going to take a long time for that sinks or clears out. It won't be safe for people to go out. And I mean, honestly, that's the smallest tragedy, not being able to go out on the water. But the reality is people will go out on the water, and that'll cost more lives.
Absolutely. Yep.
And you have this right here. Look at this section. This right here is a nice little river. That's actually kind of beautiful to drive by, and there were pull-off spots. And now that's I-40 that you're seeing right there. It's gone. And this is just one of the sections. This is a fucking mountain. This is the Biltmore Village. This isn't coastal waters. This isn't a hurricane pulling in seawater. This is pouring so much rain that it looks like something from off the ocean, right?
Yeah.
House floats away. This is on a mountain.
Oh my God.
This is on a fucking mountain. These are mountain communities.
That house was moving like a car would have moved. Like,
yeah.
What?
This is the last photo of a husband and wife in Asheville, North Carolina, sheltering on a roof from the flood. The roof would soon collapse, causing them and their 6-year-old grandchild to drown.
Oh my God.
Before Helene. Nice house, nice flowing creek, right? This is a common thing in the mountains. As creeks run downhill, people build, so you can get water. This is after Helene. and now the bridge is gone, the banks are gone. Luckily, their house is still there. You ain't getting there. This is how people are getting out. They're hiking out. They're hiking in food supplies, and they're hiking themselves out. This is Irwin, Tennessee, which was unbelievably hit. And this is another thing no one's thinking about. The water treatment facilities in these towns, which are based on rivers, are gone. The wastewater treatment facilities are gone. They will take
good. So sorry, this is a good comment from someone here saying, what a trustworthy source of information we can share on social media that people will pay attention to. I just think it's being on social media, to be perfectly honest. I think the only way, the only place that you seem to be able to find stuff like this is either X and at a push TikTok, but TikTok seems to be becoming a more and more closed in platform.
Yeah, TikTok is definitely flooding things, right, or censoring things right now. X is very good. Just type in, if you want to know what's going on, type in. I mean, Elon Musk is sharing information about it, right? Charlie Kirk is. There's so much. Look at this. This is fucking. I feel for these people. He's obviously on a very steep mountain. There's not a stream there. There's a trickle from off-flow of water. The problem is the ground has reached saturation. It's now separating from the clay underneath. The alluvial soil is going to take everything down with it. It's just crazy. Like, how do you get out of that? That's what's left of the road. It's just washed out. Houses washed out. Irwin, Tennessee.
Oh my God.
This is Irwin, Tennessee. I don't know why they keep showing that. RV camper swept away. Yeah, that's weather manipulation. I get it. This is crazy. The way the water just flooded down. Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
I've seen this
The
one.
State Bridge. Yeah.
Gone. Yep. It literally just went away.
Yeah. So how long is that going to take to rebuild?
Forever.
And not only that, contract materials, workers, labor, it's going to be government money. So that's going to be bid out. The fact that these things will be built with ridiculous government money, and and I have an insight into this, the way the current administration works with this nonsense, the way they release funds, that bridge is 3 years out. And it's just gone. It's just washed away. Like Florida. North Carolina floods. People didn't know what to do. They live in a mountain. What do you do? You're a mountain town. This is a serious one. This guy almost dies. This was in East Tennessee.
Oh my God.
Yeah, almost got him. Took out the house below him. Boom.
That came so fast.
Yeah, and I've seen this one before and I've listened to it. You can hear him panic, but that's it. It was the soil and everything. Once it hit, it wasn't just water coming. It was soil, trees, logs, rocks. If you look at some of the riverbank that's been done, like I'll pull up what happened to Chimney Rock. I think that's worth seeing.
It's interesting watching stuff like that. Not for like not even like 100% connected to what we're talking about, but I'm pretty big these days into like looking into the sort of old world Tartaria stuff where they talk about mud floods and things like that.
Yeah.
And that sort of rain and that sort of thing can 100% make you believe that a civilization could have been like swept away.
When we were talking to a dude last week, that's exactly what I thought. So all right, I think that's as big as it'll let me make it. This is town of Chimney Rock, I believe. Yeah. Before and after.
And this one's gone, right? This town is
Chimney Rock's gone. This is the one the feds are trying to take. See if unfortunately they have the words right in the middle of the video, which I don't understand why they're doing. All right, that's this exact day 3 years ago. We bought our dream cabin on 10 acres near Lake Lure in Chimney Rock. All right. Since then, we spent so much time by the river. Fantastic. That's Chimney Rock.
Oh my God. Everything's gone.
That's Chimney Rock. That's the town we were just looking at. Yeah. See, there's what's left of the parking lot. All this was town. See, you can see the buildings. The river was on the other side. Look at all that sediment. Look how high that is.
It looks like you're in the riverbank right there.
It is now. That's Lake Lure. That's one of the lakes everything dumped down into. homes, campers, a few boats out there, strangely enough, that were able to ride the waves. Look at all those trees. Look at all that. This is a lake. It's a recreational lake.
They're never gonna find all the bodies in that lake.
No, they're not even looking. Nobody's looking. Nobody's trying to tag them. They still haven't rescued everybody yet. They still haven't got all the people out. They're still flying helicopters and finding people who are stranded, who are trying to get out of the mountain.
I can't believe this. It's just insane.
You know, so when we got what's his name talking shit about yelling fire in a theater, fuck that guy.
He just got banned, actually.
Good.
I've never banned anybody before.
Good, yeah, because this is how many bodies are in here that we're not seeing. How many kids? How many pets? How many pets?
He got banned because he commented, "You guys, you guys might be the successor to Infowars," which I kind of took as a compliment, but you can get fucked anyway.
Yeah, his old.
I think I'm gonna cry.
So look, this is Chimney Rock before and after. It's gone. This is just a fucking road going into town. Gone. And this should be everywhere. This should be everywhere. Here's Boots and Brew.
The smell that was here.
Can't hear him good. It's there it is.
Because you're not holding on to your children when that comes through, like
they're gone.
Well, and even adults aren't gonna really like. You gotta hold on for dear life. But like, could you? I could. Oh my god.
No, this is one of those situations, and my wife and I, we've talked about this. I think every adult at some point has faced probably in a life-threatening situation, and how you face it is interesting. But at least I know as a father, as a man, I imagine as a mother, like especially when you have kids. So I think both of you guys are going to relate, and anyone listening who has kids is definitely going to relate. If you've ever been in a situation where you totally felt helpless, you know what I mean? Like the outcome of this event, I have no input on. That's every person here. This isn't like, I can maybe swim it or I can fucking hold on.
No.
But when you're with loved ones and you're holding on to them and you realize there's nothing I can do for these other people. I don't know what to do. I've had 2 moments like that in my life. Three is fair to call, that I was just in a panic. And it, if I think about it now, I'll still get emotional. I cannot imagine what these people went through. This is just a month ago. There's Chimney Rock. This is a vacation destination. Now that's it. There was a little fair along the water right here. Kids would play. Touristy trap crap, Everything's gone. It's just a wider river now. Some of the roads, there's an interesting one I wish I could find, where it shows about 5 feet of creek gravel that has come down from the mountain and just covered everything. How many bodies are under that? You'll never find them. You'll never get to find it because it's not just water. It's mud.
Yeah.
It's mud. And tree branches and shrubs and boulders and everything that makes up houses churning together. One of the things that people who are there are saying that there's just bodies.
Yeah, I read something.
I had 2 geckos.
This guy's in shock.
I lost it all.
We lost everything: family, friends, homes, our jobs, everything, our animals. We have nothing. We got family members floating down the river.
Jackie and Alex say they're struggling.
They're like they're like, there's just bodies and trees. They can't get them down yet. And there's like,
yeah. Look at that. Look at all that gravel now. And these are just the spots that we can get to and see. The spots by helicopter are even worse. One of my friends flying into. It's just unfucking believable. And the government's doing nothing. FEMA's doing nothing. Kamala won't fucking talk about it. She doesn't give a shit. The only people trying to do anything are Elon Trump and all the normal people. Like, don't donate. Here's another one. Don't donate to the Red Cross. They're seizing assets. They're seizing money.
People that care are there. But like, I mean, they're not showing this. That's the thing. Like, nobody knows that this is what happened.
No, this is crazy. So this is one that should be shown. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. I mean, I'm watching it, but I can't put myself in that.
Right.
That's a house. Just got stuck and it's getting ripped under a bridge. So it floated down the river, hit the bridge, caught it weird, and it's just that mud is just churning it down.
And can you imagine, like, you think you're safe in your house, so you're like, okay, let's hunker together with our family, and like we're safe in our house, and your house gets torn down and like floating down the river or floating down wherever. I mean, it's a river now, but like, where was it? What was it before? Like,
Was the warning? Like, was there any like evacuation warnings for
No.
anything?
No, that's the thing is they're like, oh, we're going to get a lot of rain. And we're like, oh, okay. And then it rained for a week, and then it was just kept going. And they're like, hey, we're going to get flash flood. And then the rain really came. And they're like, oh, hey, we're at saturation level. Ground's at saturation. We need to get out. And that's when everyone focused on the dams are collapsing. Oh, that's all the media talked about. And they're evacuating the wrong spots. You know, it's just a crazy town. Oh yeah, this is a good one. So we're watching The View, and it's Google Road Maps from, I guess, a year ago, 2 years ago. Asks you to pay attention to that little yellow house on the side. Remember the little yellow house? And the only reason they're able to cross that is dudes are bringing in their own heavy equipment.
can we just talk about all the civilians that have like come together to do what they can to save people and to do what they need to do to get out there? Like your friend and like all these other people outside of FEMA, outside of the government, because the government's literally doing nothing. The people that are supposed to be helping in this situation, they're not doing anything. So people have literally rallied together to go help these people out there because that's all they can do.
Yeah, you have individuals sending out pallets of goods.
Yeah.
Pallets of chainsaws, pallets of water, all that kind of stuff. Like that's individuals sourcing it. That's people with means and money. You got to know the right people to give to. Some people are hiring people to put them on ATVs, put employees on ATVs and get them out there. There's a guy who runs a TikTok called Well and Septic Life. They're helping a town get the water plant back up and going because no one knows how to do it. He's like, I don't either, but we have the only equipment that maintained to make it. So we got to figure it out. You know,
but
that's
after the Maui fires, you have like Oprah coming out saying like, hey, donate. I'll donate too, whatever. Like, let's all donate together, but not now.
No.
Yeah. I wonder how much
Has anybody come out and said like, hey, I mean, outside of like Elon and Trump.
That's the thing. There's no one really to donate to. You have FEMA trying to take assets. That's including financials. That's the Red Cross trying to do that too. It's just one of those things. It's one of those things. All we can do in a time like this, is you just got to pray for people. Hope for the best. And if you're an American and you see everything that's going on with the election, with these hurricanes, get prepared yourself. Get prepared yourself.
And yeah, especially around election season, like things are going to get wild quickly.
Yeah. Don't bankrupt yourself. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the advice I'm trying to give you. I'm, within reason. If you can store up a couple weeks of food, if you can, do it. Have some bottled water. Better yet, have a water filter on hand.
Yeah. I said that to people before lockdowns were even thought of. You know, when the supposed virus. I don't know. I don't even know where I stand on that anymore. I said to people on this show, like, go and like get some water, get some food. At worst, you don't need to buy any more bottled water for a while. You're gonna have a few more cans of beans that it's gonna take you. You don't need to go in and look like a doomsday prepper.
Yeah.
Just
but hey, there's nothing wrong with that either. All right.
No,
judge out here. But with that, we've been going 2 hours, and stay away from the Diddy freak offs or whoever's going to start running those. Whatever gods you believe in, there's a lot of missing kids. Pray for them. America's gone through the largest natural disaster we have on record since the Dust Bowl. I mean, you got to understand the size of the Appalachians that were affected is like the size of Israel.
Yeah.
But of course, if this happened in Israel, everyone would be in an uproar.
If it was Israel, they'd already have billions of dollars sent. And with that,
Dannii, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you again just before we disappear?
I am the Rabbit Hole Conspiracy Theories and Cult Chronicles Skeptic Studios. If you see that, that's me. You found me.
Amazing.
You can see me on TikTok now and on Instagram, although I'm going to get on X soon, so you can look for me there soon.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this light-hearted conversation we've had this evening. So you'll come back. You'll come back and speak to us.
It started that way.
Yeah.
It was fun until it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
It's always fun with you guys, but I don't know. The conversation gets a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, that's just like the review of every family Christmas I have. Yeah, no, there was anyone that's got this far into the podcast, you've been awesome. So we expect a 5-star review from you, because if you don't, after listening to us for like over 2 hours, it's kind of stealing, isn't it? Other than that, we will see you later on in the week for more podcasts and more stuff. See you later. Goodbye, guys. You guys not going to say ta to all the people now?
I feel like I already said my goodbye.